Hello, I'm Steve Main with Fitness for Five, here for our series with Dr. Nario of Biointegrative Health. They're in Reno. Hi, doctor.
Hi, thank you for having me again, Steve.
Okay, so today I want to talk about, we want to talk about NAD, which you say is a popular IV at the clinic. So what is NAD? What does it stand for?
Oh yeah, NAD, it means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. That's why we just keep it as NAD, just to lessen the confusion. But
That sounds
when
like
I
a good
mentioned that
idea.
to you, it's one of our special IVs. We only do it by request, but I know other clinics are doing it as well. And why is that? Is because we need thorough evaluation of our patient before we administer it. And this is something mainly focused on anti-aging. I mean, there are other uses that I will discuss later on, but majority of the time, that's one of the main reasons why patients receive it. So NAD is actually an energy currency of the cell. So it's like money for the cell. And when they want to interact with other cells, they need to give this so that, of course, an exchange can happen. So all cellular life or components requires this. And also other proteins are dependent on NAD for its interaction. So it's like money of our energy system in our system that we always use. And it's derived from niacin, which is B3, which is a very important cellular coenzyme that we cannot live without. And the main function is, as I mentioned to you, is to produce energy for every cell. And without energy, as we all know, there would be no physical life. And this enables the mitochondria to function better.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I get this right, heard you right. Did you say that there's a prerequisite for someone to get this IV?
I mean, the only prerequisite really is a thorough evaluation for the reason of, is there something else that they want
What kind
to?
of evaluation did you say?
No, it's just more of taking your history, doing
Oh, okay, okay,
seeing your labs. You cannot receive this without any lab work, basically.
okay. Okay, so how does this affect us as we age? Does this um, does something diminish, or how does this whatever this is in our body that you're talking about, NAD,
Right.
how does it affect us as we age?
Well, Steve, NAD is something that we have at 100%. We have the amount at age 20. As we get to age 50, then we at least have 40% that is left. So in life, as we go on, we consume NAD naturally. And by the age of 80, we're basically depleted. We're done with NAD. And that's why it's related to cellular aging. It's theorized to be linked with, I don't know if you heard of the telomere. These are your chromosomes. And the longer of a telomere length you have, the longer lifespan or in a better condition a person is. That's why it activates the telomerase enzyme that makes your chromosomes longer, thus making it a better anti-aging supplement or therapy compared to other modalities that are out there.
Okay, so are there any symptoms? Is there any way that you can tell that NAD is getting low?
Yeah, and the thing here is there are. A good topic that I want to go back to is your chromosome, which is inside it's part of your DNA. So when your DNA gets damaged, it correlates to you having low NAD. And it also is related to the anatomy and the functional structure or changes that we have every day. And if we have low NAD, then the structures of our system and the functions that we have also goes down. Thus, when we talk about chromosomes, we're talking about DNA and also genetic problems that will be produced for us. And we will also know that stem cells also are very dependent on NAD. And stem cells would not be activated when we use stem cells for cell repair and also for resiliency. And another thing that I mentioned a while ago was the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of our cell that produces energy. If it doesn't have that NAD supply, then the our energy levels goes down. And NAD also is needed by the brain, the muscles, the heart, and also, of course, for mental health. If you have low NAD, all of these are affected negatively.
Wow. So that's a lot of good information. So that helps the cell, and it kind of works with like with stem cell, or it helps to rejuvenate. So what is there anything that someone might notice, like I said, a symptom or a way that they would be feeling, that they would notice how they're feeling? Is there any way or symptoms like that if the NAD was really low? How would they be feeling? What would they notice if it was low?
Right. So the thing here is that's a good point that you brought in. Then this will be covered when I mentioned to you about the benefits of doing NAD therapy. When you use NAD, we use it for a different host of health conditions. One thing that you mentioned about what should we look out for if we need it is number one, if, for example, brain function is not going well. When we have dementia, forgetting things, it means that the brain is not getting enough energy for it to run. And that's why we have brain fog when that happens. So NAD is used for basically dementia, Alzheimer's, even Parkinson's, and even just promoting longevity, as I mentioned to you a while ago, lengthening of those chromosomes, the telomeres. It's definitely an anti-aging remedy. Another one would be when we talk about you have signs of fatigue or low metabolism, so probably chronic fatigue. This is also another case where you can use it. When you have pain, unusual pain and inflammation, massive inflammation in the system, that can also be remedied by NAD. Another one would be mood, when you're always depressed, always sad, meaning the neurotransmitters in the brain are not active. And NAD can definitely boost that up for you. Another one would be, this is a very specific use, not only for anti-aging here in the clinic, for addictions. Addictions such as alcohol, opiates, benzos, all of these are part of the picture of low NAD in our system. That's why anybody who's going through rehab, we give them NAD to regulate the neurotransmitters in the brain. And for the anti-aging effect, it activates what we call sirtuins. Sirtuins are actually genes that are dependent on NAD. And sirtuins are activated by resveratrol, and that's wine extract. But NAD is better in relation to activating these specific cells or genes that we have to, of course, for a longer lifespan of our cell life.
Wow, so that sounds like a really good treatment. You've touched on some, but is there any other benefits maybe that you would want to share, that any other benefits that you haven't touched on that NAD would provide?
Well, basically all the ones that I mentioned to you are the basic ones, or the most common reasons why patients get it. But in general, like me, I did NAD, and it's really more for rebooting, reboosting. I mean, detox. That's for a healthy person. That's definitely one of the main reasons why they want to get it. Really more for anti-aging.
Okay. So I'm assuming that we're talking about a vitamin, or we're talking about a bag, an IV bag for receiving NAD, but is there anything that you would want to share about how it's administered?
Well, NAD can be in the form of oral and IV. Oral form, yeah, there's a supplement. You can find that in the internet. Type NAD.
I was going to ask that. that next.
Yeah, so it's out there. The thing there is, again, as we always talk about, when you talk about oral supplementation, the absorption question comes into play. Meaning, are you going to be absorbing all of that? How is the potency of these supplements? We don't know. That's why we prefer IV form. We also do the oral one, but we prefer IV form. But it's a special IV, as I mentioned to you. If somebody is a candidate, we need to order that before we actually give it to the patient. And again, the thorough evaluation that I mentioned before, I guess the first question that you had for me, and also infusion actually takes around 2 to 3 hours. It's a very long infusion for a small amount of NAD. For the reason that even, I'm going to tell you my own experience with it. When I was getting NAD, man, I thought I was riding a roller coaster. My heart was like beating fast and slow.
Wow.
You feel warm inside, and you know you're getting reactivated from the inside. That's why this is a very unique type of IV. And we have patients here who really needed to go slow on this just because of those side effects.
Wow.
But it's safe though. It's very safe.
Okay. So that's how it, I mean, IV is always better. I get that. But what do you recommend if someone's going to take it orally, or is there a cream or a liquid or something you put under your tongue?
Yeah.
What's the best way to take it if you don't? And do you have a product there that people can get?
Yeah, the product out there is the one that I mentioned to you about, the oral one. You can definitely get it on the internet. I don't want to endorse any specific product here, but
Yeah, I understand.
I'm definitely going to tell you, or if patients come in or just call us, I can definitely directly tell them what that product is and what company. But if they just type it up, there are so many NAD supplements out there. But again, you don't know where they're coming from, if it's a credible source that you're getting it. And again, the question of just how clean the ingredients that they use in there.
So I guess one thing that you would recommend is that anyone who's going to take a supplement, oral or a shot or anything, that they should get advice from an expert. Maybe not a doctor, but an expert nutritionist or somebody who knows what they're talking about, or someone that understands the body. So I'm guessing that you would recommend that, hey, don't just go look it up on the internet and say, oh, this is the cheapest one, right? That might not be the best way to do it, right?
And that's a good point they brought up. You have to be careful when it's cheap. Probably the quality is not good.
Right.
Not always,
Well,
but that's kind of a rule that we have. I've been working with supplements for the longest time. And unfortunately, I'm always trying to find the most cost-efficient way for patients to spend their money on. And again, when I say cost efficient, you consider the cost and also the effectivity of the supplement that you're giving. If you're giving powder, I mean, yeah, it's cheap, but it's not working. What's that for, right?
Sure, right. If you're going to take a bottle full of rocks, it was cheap. Well, it's a bottle full of rocks, so
right.
not
You don't know
something
where you're getting.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Nario, Biointegrative Health in Reno. We thank you again. Very good interview. Appreciate your time and your knowledge on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for having me.